chaotic, and it has changed my life. I'm a fan of his ever since. I love this collection. Of his most legendary supermodels and more. The four queens of the runway. Fashion, New York Fashion Week is right around the corner. Librarian tonight, and that's because I came to read a bitch. Jaja's Atelier, bitch. Welcome back, guys, to a brand new episode of Jaja's Atelier. It's your girl. Now, it has been 3 episodes in 1 week, darling. 3 episodes in 1 week. I hope I can keep this momentum going through the holidays for you guys. Lord, I can't believe it's almost Christmas already. I'm not even really into the holiday spirit. You know, holidays just don't hit the same for me since I was young. You know, now that I'm older, it's just not the same. Does anybody else feel that way? I know I definitely do. Anyway, guys, listen. It's a whole lot going on in the fashion world, so let's just jump straight into it. After months and months of speculations and name after name after name being tossed in the ring, Chanel has finally announced its new creative director in now former Bottega Veneta creative director Matthew Blasi. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, we talked about this last week, and you guys know that I was really rooting for Simon Porte-Jacquemus. And I was a little disappointed when I first heard it. Of course, Matthew Blasi's name was one of the many names tossed in the ring, as well as Simon Porte-Jacquemus. And even though I was really rooting for Simon Porte-Jacquemus, I really adore his work. I love the delicate, sophisticated elegance that he brings, and the nuance and the accessories are just to die for. But when I really laid back and thought about it, Matthew Blasi definitely is the better choice. Because I'm going to be real with you guys, Chanel, since the passing of Karl Lagerfeld, in my personal opinion, Chanel has really been surviving off of legacy alone. I respect Virginie Viard, but honey, in my personal opinion, as well as everybody else on the internet, it just wasn't giving what it was supposed to give under her. It just wasn't. And sometimes that's not her fault. That's not a lack of talent on her part. It just wasn't a good fit. It just wasn't a good fit. I can't think of her whole tenure as creative director after Karl Lagerfeld. I can't think of one collection that really I was just like in awe of. No shade, I'm just keeping it real. And the reason why I like that they picked Matthew Blasi, and I'm respecting their decision and looking forward to seeing what he brings, is because Chanel is, if not one of the biggest European fashion house in history. It's one of the most recognized fashion labels, and it needs somebody that is disciplined, a visionary, and who has a huge amount of experience. This is a really, really big responsibility. So it's got to be somebody that's primed and ready. And who better than Matthew Blasi? Let's talk about his resume. He started his career as a men's designer for Raf Simons. He then went on to design the artisanal line and the women's ready-to-wear show at Maison Martin Margiela. Also, while at Maison Martin Margiela, he designed those masks for Kanye West while he was on, I believe, his Yeezus tour in 2013, 2012, 2013-ish. After that, he joined Phoebe Philo in 2014 at Celine. He then worked as design director of women's ready-to-wear from 2016 to 2019 at Calvin Klein, which all then led him to becoming creative director of Bottega Veneta in 2020 till now. You can't argue with a resume like that. You know what I mean? And then fast forward to what he's done for Bottega Veneta. I mean, catapulted Bottega Veneta into the stratosphere in just 4 short years. So, much respect to Simon Port Jacques Moose, but after I really thought about it, I'm definitely feeling, I'm definitely feeling Matthew Blasey on this. I think it's the perfect decision. And just the way he plays with fabrics and manipulates fabrics and make you think that, oh, this is denim, but it's really not denim. It's actually thousands of beads sewn together to look like denim. And oh my God, I love the accessories from Jacques Moose. But when we're talking about accessories, it doesn't get more viral and, more notable than Matthew Blasey and Bottega Veneta. The purses, the shoes, those mule sandals, those leather woven bags, those fringe bags, they were everywhere. Even down to those clunky boots with the lime green bottoms. Like, his stuff was everywhere. I'm also thinking, when I was in the midst of disagreeing with the Matthew Blasey choice, I was like, why in the fuck would he go over to Chanel now when him and Bottega Veneta have such a thing going on and they're at such a fever pitch? Why now? And then when I thought about it again, I said, why not now? What better time to take over one of the most historic fashion houses in Europe than in the midst of you revolutionizing one of its close runners-up? And Bottega Veneta is a close runner-up, in my personal opinion, to Chanel, mostly because of Matthew Blasey. You agree with me or no? That's just my personal opinion. Now, Bottega Veneta did not waste any time announcing its new creative director in now former Carven creative director, Louise Trotter. Louise Trotter was only at Carven for a year. Which kind of lets me know, the quick announcement from Bottega Veneta for the Matthew Blasey replacement lets me know that this just didn't happen overnight. This has been in the works for a while now. And even though reports were saying that Matthew Blasey met with the House of Chanel and the owners of Chanel, the bigwigs of Chanel, way before Simon Port Jacques Moose, you just don't never know with these fashion houses which direction they're going to go when they're picking somebody for this prestigious position, especially a house like Chanel. So I really love the fact that they picked a woman. I thought they could pick somebody, a minority, somebody black. I would have loved to see somebody black head this. There's plenty of names that I could throw out, but I'm not even going to bother because they've already made their decision. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what she's going to bring. I loved her last collection at Carven. I thought it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything major for me, but a lot of people, I remember watching the show and seeing the comments, and a lot of people loved her work while the short time she was there. So congratulations to Louisa Trotter. And again, a huge congratulations to Matthew Blasey. This is going to be major. I can't wait to see what the House of Chanel is going to look like under Matthew Blasey as creative director. It's really an exciting moment in fashion. Speaking of fashion musical chairs, honey, another big, heavy rumor that has been circulating heavy all through fashion media for the past 8 months to a year now is John Galliano leaving Maison Margiela? And the answer is, as of this week, yes. Hold on, let me pull it up here. So as of this week, Jean Galliano is ending his 10-year partnership with Mason Martin Margiela. I did not see this coming. I was hearing about it. I was hearing about it and I was hearing about it. But I was like, well, all the my face is itching. Sorry. All this excitement after the Met Gala and him recreating one of his looks for Zendaya, from Dior's yesteryear when he used to work for Dior. And then that kind of died down as months went on. And I was like, okay, well, he's just going to stick to what he's been doing. It was a fun thought, but let's move on. But him leaving Mason Martin Margiela is just now a resurgence of, the rumors that he could be returning to Dior. This is just igniting that flame. He made the announcement on his social media after scrubbing his social media clean. And he said this, I'm not going to read it all, but I'll read a little bit. Today is the day I say goodbye to Mason Margiela. My heart overflows with joyous gratitude and my soul smiles, for I am 14 years old today, 14 years sober, living a better life than I ever dreamt possible. And this is thanks to two people, two truly beautiful people whom I both love and cherish. They, however, are too humble to allow me to mention their names here. We know who they are, and I will be forever indebted to them, forever grateful. The rumors everyone wants to know and everyone wants to dream. When the time is right, all will be revealed. For now, I take this time to express my immense gratitude. I continue to atone, and I will never stop dreaming. I, too, need to dream. And it goes on from there. So he definitely addressed the Dior rumors, and that leads me to believe that he definitely could be going to Dior. Now, towards the end, he made huge waves. Not even huge waves. John Galliano made history at Dior. John Galliano, in my personal opinion, is to Dior what Karl Lagerfeld was to Chanel. And there will never be another unless he goes back. And in my, a lot of people were saying, well, he's not the same Galliano he was back then. And I have to agree. But I will say, no, he's better. And what better way to leave Martin Margiela than with that just iconic, legendary, history-making, final couture show that he just ended everybody else at Paris Couture Week with. The Pat McGrath porcelain doll makeup, the male corsetry. I mean, what a way to go out with a bang. And after 10 years, he's made waves over there for 10 years. And after his incident towards the tail end of his tenure at Dior, with those racist anti-Semitic comments, you could have really counted him out. And then he just resurrected his career over at Mason Martin Margiela. I personally would gag if John Galliano returning to Dior would be like Brenda Walsh returning to 90210 after all of them graduated from college and she just popped up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And I have been saying this for years. Like, I think Dior needs Galliano back. And I was talking to somebody who's really, really in the fashion space years ago, and I was telling them, I think John Galliano's going to go back to Dior after a while. And they were like, I don't think so. I don't think, you read up on it. I don't think that'll ever happen. And here it is years later. And my prediction is that much closer to being true. Wow. I can't wait. I honest to God, I cannot wait. How much longer is Dior going to take? And to be honest, and they're like, well, what are they going to do with Maria Grassi? Maria Grassi can get on a boat and with her husband and eat croissants and try to find her creativity again, honey, because it's lacking. It's really lacking. I don't think she wants to be there anymore. I don't know if there's a pay disparity. I don't know what's going on. But Maria Grassi is not it for me, honey. I am so over her. I am so over her. I just hope that if John Galliano is going to go back to Dior, I hope it's not going to be a trigger for him, because that's where he was when everything kind of spiraled. So, but I think he can do it. I definitely think he can do it, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm very much looking forward to it. Anyway, guys. So, switching gears. Have y'all seen the Drea Kelly interview with the Drea Kelly interview with Carlos King? Now, before I show the clip, I've never liked this woman. I always thought, I had my judgments and my preconceived notions about her, and she does tend to do some things that are attention grabbing and not in the most pleasant way. But after this interview definitely changed my mind about her. Take a look at a few minutes of this.
I do feel like you're very misunderstood.
Because y'all judge something you don't know. You have to know what's at the root of your tree to know why you bear the fruit that you do. What was at the root of my tree was abuse. The fruit of my tree was being in an abusive relationship. But y'all want to judge the branches.
Obviously, your ex-husband is R. Kelly. How did it all come about? He approached you.
Carlos, I met him when I was 19. And then you meet this man in a position of power, and people don't understand. It's just not a Cassie going against Puff. The web is so big, you have the money to make me disappear.
Who was he before he first put his hands on you?
I don't know if there was really a real way to know who he was. Most women, we don't know the difference between a charming man and a cunning man. Relationships are one of two ways. A healthy relationships are good days with bad moments. Toxic relationships are bad days with good moments. You don't even know you're in something toxic.
Wow. So let me tell you guys, ever since the Me Too movement came out, ever since, a lot of things are being revealed that, what goes on behind the scenes with some of our favorite celebrities, and, she was kind of like the first. This blew me away, and the way she explained it, the way she talked about, how she met R. Kelly and how it all really came about, and that she wasn't even interested in it at the time. She was engaged to be married to somebody else, and that fell through. And R. Kelly was really like one of her best friends. She didn't really know the monster that was inside of him at the time. She has 3 children by him. And I'm going to tell you what I liked most about it. What I liked most about it is the way she describes the abuse and the cycle, the never-ending cycle. And in the clip here, you see she talks about a web. When she broke it down, and we often talk about, when we talk about the victims of cases like this, we often say, well, why didn't you just leave? The way she broke it down, honey, when she said, if you look at the Diddy and the Cassie video, when he was assaulting her in the hotel hallway, she said, imagine trying to do that and you're pregnant. Imagine trying to do that and you have 2 toddlers and a baby in arms. She also talks about how everybody gets paid off of these men's personas. Everybody from the police officers that secure the area when they're putting on a concert, the bus drivers, the vendors, the security guards, sometimes the makeup artists, the hairstylists. There's really no way to get around the control. And the way she broke it down, it's like you can't deny, there's no making that up. When you really sit down and think about it, a lot of these women are prisoners in their own marriages, in their own relationships with their children, and they cannot leave. She also talks about the financial abuse. It was a really riveting interview. And I also like the fact that she addressed everything head on. I don't know who her publicist is or if she even has one, but she came prepared for this interview. She answered every single question with a straight face and no hesitation. Even when Carlos King asked her about, what people kept saying about, oh, well, if he's such a bad man, why do you keep his last name? And she talked about, why would I let my children go through that alone? Oh, now that the shit has hit the fan, I'm changing my name back. She goes, no, we're going to go through this together. I'm not leaving my kids out here to dry. It was a real tear. I mean, I even found myself crying. And the jewels that she dropped in this interview. She also talks about, when talking about backlash, she also addresses Black women and saying, listen, I got the most hate from Black women. The venom that Black women spit her way. And I remember seeing the comments online anytime a story about her would pop up. And yeah, she might do things that you don't personally like that you could look at with the side eye as questionable. But I believe every word. I believe every word. And I think it's so funny because I was watching Fag Talk with T.S. Madison the other day. And shout out to Craig, the writer, and T.S. Madison. I love them. But they were talking about this one woman. She was on this dating game, this pop the balloon thing. And she walked out and immediately, everybody popped the balloon because she's a woman of a darker tone and she had a really deep voice. And T.S. Madison and Craig were live. And immediately, Black women are always the first to come to the defense of toxic masculinity and misogyny. And I was thinking to myself, there's a subset of women, and it's not just Black women, but I want to talk about Black women for a minute. There is a subset of Black women who are emotionally and physically aroused by misogyny and toxic masculinity. When I really lay back and think about it, and I see the comments and how quick a lot of women are to immediately go after the woman and defend the man, it's like a lot of y'all are turned on by toxicity. And it's really scary. Like, we need to all take a step back and deprogram. Because if a woman, especially a Black woman, is coming out and she's talking about these issues and she's looking for that sister circle moment, and a lot of other Black women can give her, and not all, but a lot of other Black women can give her is, oh girl, you just looking for some money. Oh, you just mad because he don't want you. And that be one of the lines that a lot of women use. Oh, you just mad because he don't want you. When other women are trying to hold men accountable, or other women are calling men out on their bullshit, it's always, oh, he don't want you. And it's like, no, sis, that's not it. You're just a little desperate, if you ask me. Not only are you desperate, but you're not even realizing how you've been programmed from birth. Drea Kelly, I am so sorry for what you went through. And I'm sorry for judging you without knowing you, because I was one of those people that you were talking about. And let me tell you, when she said something about she said while you sit up there with your discounted lace synthetic lace run, I was like, ooh. Did she make me see one of my comments? Because I definitely got this synthetic lace run on discount. Bitch. That stung when she said that. But yeah, I definitely apologized to her. You know, I never talked about her on the show, I don't think, but I definitely had thoughts in my head like, oh, this bitch, oh, she's lying. Oh, she also talks about her influence over his career. I had no idea, and I went back and I did my research. She was in his music videos. She was the choreographer. She was his creative director. He really leaned on her for inspiration and advice. She was really his muse throughout several eras of his career. And say what you want about R. Kelly, the facts are the facts. You know, he is definitely a troubled man, to say the least. But his talent, now we can't take away from his talent. And that she explains, like, that's a part of the reason why she still listens to his music. She says the gift of music that he has was passed on to their children. She said, why would I negate that? Why would I throw that away? That's the one good thing about him. And if I'm going to remember anything, I also want to remember the good times. So, you know what? Huge shout out to Carlos King on this interview. I mean, they were both weeping by the end of it. And huge shout out to Drea Kelly. And apologies again. You know, this is a real lesson for me not to judge a book by its cover all the time. Sometimes, but not all the time. And let this be a lesson to a lot of people out there. You know, it's a lot of rumors circulating now, and you can respect the victims without labeling somebody as guilty before, you know, the facts and the trial and all of that. You don't have to disrespect one to respect the other. You could just be quiet and wait, which is what I think a lot of people need to be doing right about now. If you picking up what I'm putting down. Anyway, so listen, I'm gonna go into a little politics right now. What the hell is going on with the media? Time magazine, what in God's name were you thinking? Time magazine has just named Donald Trump Person of the Year. What type of message is this sending to the youth in this country? That you could throw as many temper tantrums as you want and still get your way? And it just seems like everybody now is like, they're donating money. They're like, oh, well, you know, we're going to try to work things out with Trump. It's like everybody seems to be bowing to this man. And he ain't even the one that you need to be bowing to, because he's just a puppet. He's just a Pinocchio to Elon Musk's Geppetto. Elon Musk and those white Christian nationalist group that wrote Project 2025. When people say complexion for the protection and white privilege is not a real thing, this is the bump cap poster child, honey. I cannot believe this. Especially, listen, the things that he is planning on doing, I didn't even realize that. It's funny, America talks about how great of a country it is, yet we don't produce anything that the rest of the world finds valuable. Not even our own electricity. I had no idea that the top northernest part of our country, they don't even have their own electric grid. They're using Canada's electric grid. Now, this Canadian official is threatening to cut off energy to the U.S. if Trump imposes tariffs. This article from CNN says, after meeting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other top Canadian officials, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, threatened to cut off energy to parts of the United States, including Michigan, New York State, and I believe Wisconsin. And he says he's going to be doing this on January 21st or the 20th. AKA the minute that motherfucker steps into office. Do you know how cold it is in New York and Wisconsin and Michigan in the dead of January? Yet when we look at the polls and you know, the outcome of the polls on election night, all of them states were flipped red. There's a lot of people having, I've been seeing this phrase tossed around online now, this buyer's remorse, this voter's remorse, I like to call it, now that the shit is hitting the fan. And it's like, you were led down to the polls with hate in your heart, and now it's turning around to bite you in the ass, and now you want everybody to feel sorry, and we're all scrambling, trying to figure out what the next step is. Everybody's worried. Everybody is worried, and you took your asses down there and you voted against yourself. This man does not care about the American people. The people that he is putting in his cabinetry does not care about the American people, and we're paying these people. Where do you think the salary, where do you think they get the money to pay the Secret Service, to pay the people that fly the presidential plane, to pay the people that clean and cook and fix up the White House, to pay the White House gardeners, to pay for, who do you think pays for all of that? We do. This man doesn't give a fuck about the price of eggs. You wait, eggs are going to be $19 for a half a dozen by the time he leaves the White House. Y'all not even going to have, what the hell y'all going to do without electricity in the dead of motherfucking winter in the middle of Michigan and New York State? This is the worst case of your vote wrote a check that your ass ain't gonna be able to cash that I've ever seen. Wow. Wow. It was a dangerous game y'all were playing this last year. And I'm going to tell you something. The consequences are going to be so great. Because I believe that Trump is going to put them tariffs on Canada anyway. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't even care about his own children. He doesn't even care about his own wife. What in Sam Hill and fuck makes you think he gives a fuck about you? And again, a lot of y'all, I don't give a fuck if you're making $30 an hour. If you have to get up out of your bed in the morning and go work and clock in for somebody else, you ain't got no money. Not the kind of money that'll help you get out of whatever's coming. You need $100 million in the bank account or better for you to be talking at all. And the main people talking don't even have a quarter of that in their bank account. I guarantee you. I know I don't. Time magazine, I think the time is up. I think that this is deplorable. I think it's disgusting. I think it's Time magazine is such a prestigious magazine. I remember Laverne Cox, the first openly trans woman on the cover of Time magazine as Person of the Year. To go from that to this, it's over. It's a wrap. It's definitely a wrap, because when all this is said and done, everybody is going to remember who bowed down and kissed the ring. And I think if we all come out on the other side of this in 4 years, Time Magazine is going to have a lot of questions to answer. Walmart is going to have a lot of questions to answer. Jeff Bezos and Amazon, with all them black and brown people that you hire, you're definitely going to have a lot to answer for. But he won fair and square. The people voted. I just hope you're ready for what you voted for. Anyway, guys, I will be back in a few days. Fingers crossed. That was a good episode. Ooh. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you in a few. Ciao.